All right, welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're taking a good look at the Hero Compendium for Tanares Adventures.
Yeah, we'll break down all 9 hero roles and introduce you to 2 standout heroes from each, giving you a solid foundation for your Tanaris team building.
Basically, your crash course for success in Tanaris. So, let's get started. How about we start with the heroes that love to bring the pain, the brutes. They hit hard and fast, but gotta watch out, they can be a little fragile.
High risk, high reward. Like Gaknak the Red Dragon Blade. He's been chosen by the Dragon Avatar and wields fire magic. He's also searching for the legendary sword of Azimor.
Wow, chosen by a dragon avatar. That's some serious firepower. How much damage are we talking here?
Well, Gaknak can actually pay his own health to both move and attack, talk about an aggressive playstyle, and he can hit multiple enemies at once using his multi-strike ability. Basically, he can attack multiple times in a single turn. So, if you need to clear a path quickly, Gaknak's your guy.
Definitely giving you a fight fire with fire vibe. High risk, but incredibly high reward. What about the second brute?
Qatar, the barbarian. He's a betrayed warrior seeking revenge. He was forced to fight in the arena, and he's driven by vengeance, ready to make his enemies pay.
I can feel the rage already. How does that translate into his gameplay?
Qatar combines damage with forced movement. Fantastic for disrupting enemy formations. You can push your opponents into vulnerable positions or even separate them from their allies. And like Gaknak, he also has that multi-strike ability, making him a serious offensive threat.
So two very different brutes, but both packing a punch and ready to wreck your opponent's plans. Now let's shift gears and talk about the heroes who are all about strategy, the Tacticians.
Yeah. Tacticians manipulate the battlefield. They exploit weaknesses and turn the tables on their opponents. Masters of trickery and adaptable to any situation.
So if I love to outsmart my opponent, a tactician might be a good fit for my team. Who are some good examples?
Haroon, the doppelganger. He's a shapeshifter seeking revenge for his family, using his powers to blend in and strike from the shadows.
A master of disguise. What can he do in battle?
Oh, Haroon's incredibly versatile. He can copy enemy attacks, dispel buffs, those temporary improvements to a hero's abilities, and even utilize multi-strike, adaptable to any situation.
Wow, a real wild card. Now let's talk about our second tactician, Mir, the assassin. Cold-blooded, acrobatic, and now fights for a counter-espionage service. Sounds like she's seen some things.
She has. Mir focuses on dealing high damage and disrupting enemy attacks. You know what's interesting? She can force opponents to flip their attack cards. Adds a random element to the game.
Oh, that's devious. She's not just about dealing damage, she's about sowing chaos and disrupting her opponent's plans. All right, let's talk about the heroes who are always in the thick of the action, the Bruisers.
The frontline brawlers of Tanaris. Good balance of offense and defense. Really versatile on the battlefield.
They can take a hit and dish it right back out. Who are we highlighting today?
Oh, Rurick, the monk. Spiritual warrior. He seeks balance and wields the power of the tiger within.
Okay, I'm picturing some serious martial arts skills. What does that tiger within actually do in the game?
Oris is incredibly mobile and disruptive. He can move through enemies, interrupting their attacks, and even dispelling permanent effects on them. And of course, he also has multi-strike to add even more damage.
So he's not just a damage dealer, he's a disruptor. He can control the flow of battle by interrupting enemy actions. Now what about our second bruiser? Tanaris the demon, created by the god Baron and cursed to unleash demonic forces upon Tanaris. His backstory alone is terrifying.
Oh yeah. Tanaris' gameplay revolves around manipulating enemy positions, forcing them into vulnerable spots. Think Puppet Master, but on the battlefield.
He's not just about raw power, he's about strategic positioning. He can set up his allies for devastating attacks by moving enemies into the perfect spot. Okay, now let's move on to the heroes who are all about protecting their allies, the tanks.
The bedrock of any team. They absorb damage, shield their allies, and stand firm against even the most fearsome attacks. You need a tank if you want to keep your team alive.
They're the ones who run towards danger, not away from it. Who are our standout tanks?
Let's start with Rurick, the warrior. He's a stalwart dwarf who's trying to reclaim his clan's leadership and find his missing children. His gameplay reflects that resilience. He's incredibly hard to hit and can protect his allies with a shield of 4.
A field of 4. That's impressive. What exactly does that mean in terms of gameplay?
It reduces the damage he and nearby allies take by 4, like an impenetrable wall standing firm against enemy attacks.
So he's all about mitigation, minimizing the damage his team takes. Now, our second tank, Sir Eric, the paladin. He was once a member of the Inquisition but became disillusioned and now fights for those who have been unjustly accused.
So Eric combines strong defense with healing capabilities, keeps his allies alive while also interrupting enemy attacks.
He's not just about protecting his team, he's also about supporting them with healing. A true champion. All right, we've covered brutes, tacticians, bruisers, and tanks.
And we'll be back to explore the remaining 5 hero roles: healers, shooters, controllers, commanders, and special. Stay tuned for even more insights into the heroes of Tanares Adventures. Welcome back! We've already explored 4 hero roles, and now we're going to dive into the next 5, starting with the heroes who keep your team alive and kicking healers.
Yeah, healers are pretty important, right?
Yes.
What's the point of a powerful team if everyone's getting knocked out?
Exactly. Healers provide that vital support that can really turn the tide of battle. They keep your heroes in the fight even when facing those overwhelming odds.
So who are our star healers? Let's meet them.
Well, first up, we have Thalia the Druid.
Thalia, oh yeah. She's practically living history, right?
She is. She's over 200 years old, making her one of the oldest heroes in Tanaris.
Wow. 200 years old and still kicking butt in the arena. She sounds like someone you want on your side.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She was the first champion of the Arena of Fate, and her connection to nature is deeply intertwined with her healing abilities.
Oh, she's a testament to the enduring power of life and growth. I love it. So Thalia is all about natural healing. Who else brings a unique flavor to the healer role? Uster the Necromancer. He's got a pretty dark backstory, a medic who turned to dark magic after losing his family.
Yeah, Uster's story is a reminder that even in a world of heroes, things aren't always black and white. His grief and desperation led him down a dark path, but his healing abilities are undeniable.
Right, so maybe not the most traditional healing methods, but hey, whatever works, right? How does his necromancy actually play into his healing abilities?
Well, his healing is tied to the number of enemies on the field. So the more enemies, the stronger his heals. And get this, he can even use the attacks of fallen allies to heal his team, turning loss into an advantage.
That's fascinating. It's like he's using the energy of battle itself to fuel his healing magic. Speaking of turning the tables on your opponents, let's talk about shooters. They specialize in range damage, picking off enemies from afar.
Yeah, shooters, masters of precision and firepower. They control the battlefield from a distance, taking out those high-value targets, weakening enemy forces before they even get close.
The snipers of Tanares. So who are our featured shooters this time?
We've got Nairi, the hunter. She's incredibly skilled with a bow and arrow, but here's the thing. She underestimates humans, believing them to be less capable.
Oh, that's a dangerous assumption to make, Nairi. How does that play into her character and her abilities?
She excels at dealing high damage, particularly to unaware enemies. Think of her as a master ambush predator. Plus, she can target multiple enemies with a single attack, making her a real crowd control threat.
So she's all about precision, surprise, and hitting multiple targets. Definitely not someone you want to underestimate. Now, what about our second shooter? Zanak, the fire sorcerer. His backstory as well, it's a cautionary tale about the consequences of unchecked anger. He burned down his entire village after his fire powers manifested.
Yeah, Zanak's story is a reminder about the responsibility that comes with power, but his fire magic is undeniably destructive.
He's all about bringing the heat. Literally, what kind of fire magic are we talking about here?
Zanak specializes in just burning down enemy health with his powerful spells. His attacks become even more devastating when he uses focus, which is a resource in the game that allows certain heroes to, enhance their abilities.
So he's a glass cannon, but a very, very powerful one. All right, let's move on from ranged attacks to heroes who specialize in disruption and manipulation. Let's talk about controllers.
Controllers, they're all about bending the battlefield to their will. They disrupt enemy formations, control their movements, and create chaos that throws their opponents off balance.
Sounds like they're the kings and queens of crowd control. Who are our standout controllers?
First up, we have Syoko, the ninja, master of both close and ranged combat, trained in the hidden arts of the ninja. And here's an interesting tidbit. She's secretly fighting against the Kemet invasion, adds a bit of intrigue to her character.
Okay, I can already picture her disappearing in a puff of smoke and reappearing behind enemy lines. What can she actually do in battle?
Oh, Tsuyoko can switch between melee and ranged forms, offering incredible flexibility. She can also interrupt enemy attacks, further disrupting their plans.
So she's adaptable, disruptive, and a master of self. Definitely a hero you want on your side. Now, our second controller is Zund, the illusionist. He used to believe that the Emperor was behind everything, but now he works for the very person he once tried to kill.
You know, Zun's story goes to show that alliances can shift and change, especially in a world as complex as Tanaris, and his gameplay kind of reflects that shifting nature.
So he's all about messing with people's minds and perceptions. How does that translate into his abilities?
Zun forces opponents to make difficult choices. He can swap positions between enemies, forcing them to reconsider their strategies, and he can create illusions, confusing, disorienting his opponents.
A master manipulator, both in his story and his gameplay. Now let's move on to the leaders and strategists of Tanaris, the commanders.
Commanders are unique because they're supported by these powerful companions. These companions add another layer of tactical depth, allowing for coordinated attacks and powerful combinations.
So they're not just about leading the charge, they're about orchestrating the entire battle. Who are our featured commanders?
We have Orthus, the warlock, a traveler from a dystopian future who's trying to prevent the Kemet victory to avoid a terrible fate.
Time travel. Dystopian futures. All right, I'm in. What's his companion like?
Orthus uses dark magic to revive allies, making them even stronger, and his companion adds extra damage and strategic options, allowing for these devastating combos.
So he's a support-focused commander, keeping his allies alive and empowered. Now on to our second commander, Ogimir, the Beastmaster. His story is one of loss, vengeance, and the bond between man and beast. The Kemet necromancers corrupted his beloved beasts, and now he seeks to defeat them and revive his companions.
Yeah, it's a powerful tale. Speaks to those deep connections that we form with our animal companions. Ogimir's gameplay reflects that bond, too.
Okay, he's got a loyal beast by his side, but what can they actually do together in battle?
Ogimir commands a powerful beast that deals high damage, and get this, it can even stay alive after Ogimir falls in battle.
Wow. Talk about a loyal companion.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a force to be reckoned with, even when facing those overwhelming odds. Now we've explored 8 of our 9 hero roles, leaving just one more, the special heroes.
Special heroes are the wild cards of Tanaris. They have these unique rules and abilities that often make them unavailable for standard campaigns. They're the heroes you bring out when you really want to shake things up.
They're the game changers, the ones with those unpredictable powers and strategies. Who are our featured special heroes?
We've got Gulog, the Deathbringer, a formidable Kemet captain, shrouded in mystery, and Tessa the Dragon Queen, a powerful figure who commands the might of dragons.
Okay, just their names sound epic. Tell me more.
Gulog forces enemies to re-roll attack dice, giving his allies a second chance to strike. He's a powerful disruptor who can really turn the tide of battle with those unique abilities.
A real wild card, a force to be reckoned with. And Tessa.
She grants herself buffs and debuffs enemies each turn, constantly shifting the balance of power. Her dragon magic is awe-inspiring and terrifying at the same time.
So she's a master of control and manipulation, using her dragon powers to dominate the battlefield. Well, there you have it, listener. The 9 hero roles of Tanares Adventures. From brutes to tanks to special heroes, the possibilities for team building are pretty much endless.
Each hero brings their own unique strengths and weaknesses to the table, creating a dynamic and engaging gameplay experience.
We've explored all 9 hero roles, met some awesome characters. Feels like we opened a treasure chest of strategic possibilities.
Yeah, each hero brings something different to the game, not just their abilities, but their stories and what drives them.
It's like building a team of legends, each with their own epic tale to tell.
Exactly. And that's what makes team building in Tanares Adventures so cool. It's not just about raw power. It's about the heroes that, speak to you, the heroes that fit your playstyle, and the story you want to tell on the battlefield.
So, as you dive into the Hero Compendium, start putting together your dream team, what should you think about? Any key takeaways from our deep dive?
First, think about synergy. How well do those different roles work together? Do you want a team that's all about offense? Brutes, shooters, or maybe a more balanced approach with tanks, healers, controllers?
It's like conducting an orchestra. Each instrument has its own part to play, but together they create this amazing symphony, a symphony of destruction.
Exactly. And then think about the challenges you'll face in Tanaris. Are you facing hordes of enemies? Well, a tank like Rurick might be essential. Going up against powerful bosses, you'll need a healer like Thalia to keep your team in the fight.
And don't forget about those special heroes. They can really mix things up, add that element of surprise to your strategy.
Oh, for sure. A special hero like Gulog can totally disrupt your opponent's plans, give you that crucial edge. And then there's Tessa. Her dragon magic can, control the battlefield and turn things in your favor.
It's all about finding the right combo of heroes, the team that works for you, and the challenges you're facing. But beyond strategy and synergy, there's something, well, kind of special about the heroes of Tanaris, you know?
What's so cool is that they're not just numbers on a card, right? They're characters with depth, they've got their reasons, and they've got their own way of looking at the world of Tanaris.
Each hero adds another layer to the story, and it makes the game that much more immersive.
Totally. As you play Tanares Adventures, pay attention to the hero stories, what they say, and how they interact with each other. Those little details, that's where the world really comes alive.
So as you start your Tanaris adventures, remember, choose your heroes wisely. Think about their abilities and their stories. Experiment with different teams. Discover new synergies and those unexpected strategies. Most importantly, have fun. Embrace the challenge. Dive into the world and let those heroes of Tanaris guide you on an epic journey.
May your battles be legendary.